It's going. Oh, here we go. All right. Yes, we are live. And thank you once again for joining us. This is Confidence Strategies with Carmen Milagro. I'm Carmen Milagro. I'm your host, but I'm also a confidence strategist. I am a CBD educator. I'm a consultant. I'm a hospitality expert. I do several things, but every third Thursday of the month, for about an hour or so, it is time for me to bring you some interesting guests and some great topics. And hopefully, the intention is to open up your world a little bit by listening and having guests who share their stories of where they were, where they are, where they're headed, and how they do it. I have to share with you something. Last month, we did two shows. One was a very special edition with an author and a dynamic real estate artist. And the show was great. But what was really phenomenal is the conversation that I had with someone who watched it at her own, on her leisure time when she had a chance. And it inspired her to break out of the cycle that she was in. And for me, the fact that I was not only able to help someone, but I was able to help a friend of mine, it makes everything worthwhile. So I hope that you find these and you watch these webisodes and that you too are maybe inspired to take the leap of faith, or maybe you get that rally cry to change something monumental in your career, or you are looking for a resource and you find it through one of the episodes. For me, that's what this is all about. I love the idea that we have a community that cares for one another and that helps each other thrive through all of this. So thank you all for always tuning in, or for watching us when you've got some time later on. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on our Facebook page, Confidence Strategies with Carmen Milagro. And you can always, hopefully, find this on my private page on Facebook as well. So today's guest fits right into everything that we're talking about. She's a community leader in her own right, and she is an artist. She's what I call an entrepreneur artist. She's a mom-preneur, and she's going to share with us her journey, parts of where she was and what she did, and maybe even she'll share with us some tips and or insights that she's learned. And if it helps you and guides you and just makes you feel a little bit better, we might have some giggles and some laughs and chuckles. You never know. I'm very excited. I need to tell you a little bit more about her background. But before I bring her on, I want to also, as always, thank our sponsor, Music City San Francisco, who also is in the business of helping the local community thrive through music and education. And I'll always keep you posted on the status of that project. I'm a little bit invested in that one. Anyway, so the point is, this is all positive, and it's all about focusing on purposeful and creative and ideas that help us flourish together. And we want you to shine. This guest today, she's the epitome, in my opinion, of a mompreneur. We'll discuss that a little bit more in detail. She's the CEO at Vintique Marketplace in Fairfield, and her name is Jennum Kaialoa. I thought I had it, and I hope I didn't butcher it, but she'll correct me when she comes on. We want to talk about some issues that I think are pretty relatable to many people, and many of us have gone through something similar. We're going to talk about what it takes to leave that 9-to-5, that leap of faith. How do you get the confidence to do that? We'll also dive into the question that seems to come up for almost everyone that I know of, that I've spoken to on the entrepreneurial journey. And she also believes that everyone can paint. So here we go. Sit back, relax, have a glass of wine or your favorite drink, your favorite beverage, and please help me welcome CJ. Hi, CJ.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
How are you, CJ?
I,
I hope
I
I
am
pronounced.
very good. It's okay. It's okay. A little story about that is I had to learn how to pronounce it before I would marry my husband. So it took a while, obviously, before I married him because I couldn't pronounce it either. So it's Kaialoa.
Kaialoa, and I went
Yes,
Kaialoa. Okay,
that's
Kai.
okay.
All
That's okay.
right.
That's okay. Let me tell you, that was not as bad as I've heard. So I will tell you that. It's totally fine. Totally fine. And I didn't know wine was an option. So I
Yes,
have water. I didn't know wine was an
okay.
option. So
That's all right. It's
I'll
okay.
have to get one of my Sherpas to bring it to me from the,
Right?
from the green room. So yes,
The team
the
behind,
team.
right?
There's always a team.
That's
Always a
right.
team.
Because we can't do
Mhm.
these things on our own.
Well, it's not smart to do things on your own. So, it's always better to surround yourself with people who are more talented than you are
Ding,
or
ding,
have
ding,
more
ding, ding.
experience who, yes. So I truly believe in that. A
Yes, me
team is
too.
very important.
You and I have talked about that. And ladies
Yep,
and gentlemen, if you weren't paying attention, that was tip number one.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. There just is no other way.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much, CJ, for taking time out of. I mean, I know this is evening time; it's your family time, so I want to thank your family too for allowing us to do
Of
this.
course.
And you're coming to us from where?
I am coming to you live from my home in Fairfield, California, is where we live. It is the night before school starts,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
it's
There's a lot
good. We're
going
good.
on.
We're all dialed in. I
Okay.
have my 16-year-old son. We spent yesterday school shopping. That was an experience, but I think we're good. I think we're
Okay.
good. There were,
All
there
right.
were no tears. There were no tears. There may be a few for me, but yes, no, we were fine. So no, it's just an evening here. Just very excited to take part in this. I just finished working today at our Winners location, so very, very excited about that.
There you go.
So I'm just unwinding now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing that with us. I think we have someone here that wants to say hello. And hi, Veronica. Thanks for tuning in. She says, a true business lady. There you go. Knows how to build a team and gives so much back to the community and to all the vendors in Vintique Marketplace.
Oh,
We love this. We love it when those of you that are supporting us can actually, sometimes for me, CJ, we're a little bit off, but we'll
yeah,
circle back. For me,
yeah,
sometimes it's so much easier when someone else talks about what we do. And I
sure.
really appreciate that. So thank you so much, Veronica.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you. I mean, she's such a sweetheart. That's very, very sweet. A lot of that just comes naturally. We're honestly, when you talk about the artist community, no matter what your art may be, it's a supportive community, and it's really important that we do that. And especially with women, that we help build each other up. And I think that that's really tough. And again, there's a lot that's happened in these past, it seems like it's going on 5 years now. But during COVID, that a lot of women had to give up what it is that they were either passionate about or their 9 to 5 so that they could focus on their family and making sure their family was okay. So I was fortunate in that sense that I was surrounded within my community and within my team that I had support to be able to continue to have that thrive and have my family life thrive. So I was very fortunate in that respect.
Well, and that's the beauty of what we're doing here, what we're
Right.
attempting to do here on Confidence Strategies. We need to continue to build each other up and
Correct.
not tear each other down.
Correct. Yeah.
That's not just, and I'm not talking about just when you're standing in front of me or when you're in the same room with someone.
Yeah.
The reality is that energy is energy. And
Correct.
one way or another, if people are sitting around talking about one another behind each other's backs, that's like, who has that time? Number one is my first question. Who has that time? It actually ends up hurting the person doing that.
Yeah.
I can't hear
Yeah.
when someone else is talking about me. I don't hear it. It doesn't affect me, but it's still energy.
Yeah. And I do notice that. Of course, there's times of frustration and there's times where you have to vent, you have to get that out. It happens with everybody. And there's a lot of times where our group that we have at Vintique is that we'll say to each other, "Hey, I'm just venting right now. Just so you know, I'm just venting. Just let me be able to do that. Please don't judge me. Please don't, And that's what we have to do. Correct. Well, sometimes, sometimes we get a little bit like, oh, that kind of hurt a little bit. That's done, but we get over it. We get over it.
Communication.
It is absolutely
you have to talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? In order for a business to function, you must have communication, but you have that trust that it is built on that.
Right.
Very different than what we were talking about earlier. Is I really believe 1,000% that the more you build up everyone around you and you all rise together, everyone wins. Everyone benefits.
Right.
And why wouldn't we want to do that?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
CJ, when you and I were going back and forth before the show, and we do some prep, right? We set up a date and we go back and forth and how do you feel about this and that sort of thing, right? Communication again.
Yes. By the way, I was a communications major, so I have a degree in communications.
Well, there
I have
you
a bachelor's of science degree in communications. Okay.
Well, there you have it. That explains, right? But you wrote to me, CJ, and I really wanted to just dive right into this because I do feel that so many women struggle with this to differentiate. Well, let's get into it. You wrote to me that you're a mom first.
Yep.
And I quote, you said, "I'm a mom first and foremost. I'm always a mother first before I take care of me." So I wanted to dive into that because I think there's really several facets to that one statement.
Sure.
And the first question that I wanted to ask you around this topic is, it seems to me like you are very clear and again, not a lot. Sometimes people aren't. So how did you get to that point of being so clear with yourself, with others? It has to be by design. So I was curious on how you said the first thing that you wrote. And
I think we had, there were a lot of things that transpired in becoming a mother. And there were, I would say for me, it was a very, it was a tough time. I had my son older. I was almost 36 when I had him. We have a family business. I was working for the family business doing a 9 to 5. But I think the thing that was challenging is that we discovered early on that our son had autism. And I think at that point you realize it's not about you anymore. It really isn't. And it's about that little person, and you're trying to help them, and you're trying to kind of, create a path for them that is, hopefully tear-free and they can learn and grow. But I think in that sense, something I'd always said about that was that during that time, he taught me more than I taught him. And I think because of that, you learn, for me, I learned an ability to listen, to read cues, And so for me, that, that was a big part of it, is that you kind of just start to develop some kind of almost like a premonition, where you can kind of see where it's going, where it's going to lead, and I kind of do that with people too, where I kind of see, ooh, they're not feeling so good about themselves right now. What do we need to do to boost them? What do we need to, to do to make them feel good? Humor is that's me. I am always about humor. And that's how it was growing up. We lived in a house where we all thought we, were stand-up comics, and that's just the way it was. So we were always striving to get attention that way.
Right. Well, so what a great coping tool.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is a tool. It's a mechanism that helps.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So it is one of those things that can, you can use it at work. You can use it at home, because that's what has gotten my husband and I through so much, is that we make fun of each other. We have fun. We just enjoy life. I mean, it's just the way it is. Right. And I think that that's a big part of it, being able to be okay with that.
Sure. It seems like, from what you shared with me prior to the show, you have this revelation, right, with the birth of your son. Mm-hmm. And it clearly you have, this is who I am, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. First, this is my priority. Mm-hmm. It must make it so much easier in a sense, right?
Sure.
It must make it so much easier when you truly know who you are, what you value, what's important to you, then to make all these other decisions. You also talked about that leap of faith.
Yeah.
The 9 to 5.
Yeah.
What was that process like?
It was a challenging and painful process. It's one of those things that it's fear driven. I mean, it really is. I mean, you're giving up that comfort of what you were used to, how life went, how, it just kind of went. Right. But I think what also helps me sometimes is I'm ADHD. So I am very impulsive. I will leap and say yes, and then go, oh, wait, should I have thought about that? So that happens a lot with me. I say yes when I really should say no. And really that kind of is what happened to me with the business, with the leap of faith.
Right.
I should have said no. I should have done my due diligence, but I took that leap because it was something that I've always been passionate about.
Right.
It's something that I always drew a type of confidence that I really never had in anything else. It was comfortable. We grew up in athletics. We all played sports in my family and got scholarships to college, all this stuff. But for me, even when I was in that setting, it still didn't feel like what I feel now. And honestly, the thing about saying, I left my 9 to 5, and you're thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be so wonderful. It's going to be this and that. But really what it ended up being is I left a 40-hour week job to an 80-hour week job. I go to sleep thinking about it. I wake up 2 hours later thinking about it. It's just, it's never ending. But I would not change it. I would not change any of that because of the passion that I feel inside and how good I feel. It's therapy. I mean, it really is therapy. And I tell people that when they come and do classes with me, when they're in there talking to me about paint and can I do it? And I'm thinking about this project, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Go do that. Right. Go do that. And when you're okay with that, you're good. That's all that matters. You're not turning around trying to give this to somebody else. You're not turning around doing this. As soon as you feel good about what you created, that's what it's about. Right. Nothing else. Don't get into the criticism, any of that stuff. Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what it's about, everybody.
True entrepreneurist and artist. No, and what I love about this is that you're so real. I know that anyone watching this and just watching that segment is going to get how passionate you are. And
Yeah.
the fact that you didn't sugarcoat it and make it all like, oh, it's all this,
Oh, it's fabulous.
right? And because there are
Can you see
moments
my
when
bags?
it is, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But it is like you've given birth twice.
Yes.
At this point, you know,
Yes.
and this thing where you said, I love how you said that you intellectually you feel like you should have said no, but you said
Right.
yes impulsively. If that's not the definition of an entrepreneur,
Correct.
I don't know what is.
Correct. Absolutely. Because it's your heart. It's driven by your heart at that point. And that passion is what gets you through those days when you want to just give up.
Right.
You know, you just want to throw everything in. You want to close the door, lock it, and put on it, "We won't be back." But that you just don't. You show up the next day, you know, hours before you open, and just put yourself back together again.
Right. And you get in the zone.
Yes.
You get in the flow.
Yep.
In this vein, when you were going through this process, was there someone that you had, you know, you mentioned your family business and all of that, but when you were making all these decisions based on your circumstances that you now were dealing with, right? Because like you don't plan for some things like this in life. You just, it is hoisted upon you.
Correct.
Hoisted, foisted. You know what I mean?
Hoisted.
You know what I mean?
Thrown in your face.
Right. But was there someone, did you have someone that inspired you or that was able to guide you or better yet, was there someone that you aspired to be like?
Well, here's the thing about, and it starts with my upbringing. So I grew up in a house with a very, very strong mother. She was a big part of Title IX in the Napa area, which that's where we grew up. Big believer in teaching her girls they can do anything, be anything. You know, we could change a tire on a car. We could do anything. My little brother couldn't change a tire on a car. I'm just saying, but we could do it. And that was the thing that was, I think for me, having her as a role model, but also it's a bit of competition that goes on. Because my mom built her family business, or our family business. It was her business, very successful. 2 preschools in the Napa area, very successful. And so for me, there's part of that. She has a legacy, and she's continuing to leave that legacy. And I think for me, in viewing that, I want to try and leave something for my son. I want him to, you know, be proud of that, like I am of her and what she's created. You know, and it's really a wonderful thing.
A generational legacy.
Correct. And that's in the business aspect. So
of course,
there's different aspects of people that you say emulate, or people that you strive to be like. And for me, I like to take little facets from everyone. You know, the gals I work with, they're just, you know, studying them and seeing how they kind of go through their day and hearing about their lives and seeing what they're creating. The young ones who come in and they're just so eager to, you know, to do these things. There's something you can get from everybody. And I think that that's really important. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are. I try and search for that little nugget that I'm going to get from someone. And honestly, I get in trouble for this all the time at the shop. I talk too much. And the girls tell me this all the time. I should be working on my pieces. I should be doing this and that. But I will get in a conversation with someone for like an hour. Right? Whether they buy something or not, I'm in this conversation where we're exchanging information back and forth. But I like to listen. I like to hear what I'm going to get, because I never know when I'm going to get that piece that I could not live without. You know, it's really important. And I think, you know, nowadays, especially in this culture that we're in, we really need to listen to each other. You know, we really need to be helpful with each other. And I think that that's really crucial. And, you know, there's quite a few ladies that I work with that I'm really fortunate, you know, at Winners Collective, at Vintique, the vendors, I will say the majority are women, and I'm super excited about that. They're being creative. They're trying to find these other avenues of, revenues of money that they can do, and also focus on their passion. And I think that's really important, whether it makes money or not. If they feel good about what they're doing, to me, that's really important. Making money, of course, is very, very nice. And I get that. But if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it makes a big difference. Makes a big difference.
Absolutely. And sometimes I think there's, for those that don't understand the passion behind entrepreneurship,
right?
It's like speaking two different languages, and
Correct.
sometimes it doesn't connect, and that's okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Everyone is on their own path,
right?
But when it does connect, when, like you said, you have these conversations with your customers. But guess what, CJ? You not just had a conversation, you've had a connection.
Correct.
And that's very different. And it's not always, in my experience, it's not always about the immediate money exchange.
Right.
Sometimes it's about an opportunity, because as we all know, sometimes you meet the most wonderful giving people when you take the time to listen and to talk to one another.
Absolutely.
You just don't, you never know. I mean, this thing that I'm doing here, once a month right now, because I did start out trying to do this every single week. Now, this is also another question that I have for you is, how do you edit down? We do think about this 24/7, right?
Right.
Whatever you love, especially if you're really passionate, which
correct.
Clearly you are.
Correct.
But how do you find that work life or life passion, whatever you want to call it? How do you find that balance?
Is there balance? I don't think so. I am still searching for that balance. Yes, I am still searching for that balance. I know that in the beginning, there were many times where I would stay there at the shop. I'd get there 7 a.m. I'd stay there till 8, whatever it is, because I was working on things, because I really enjoyed being there. But then I'd come home and I'd hear, from my son or my husband, like, geez, you haven't even been around. You haven't. And I start thinking about that going, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. So let's take that time. Let's try and pencil this in or figure out family time or something like that. And honestly, again, it goes to having a team around you where you can feel comfortable going, I don't need to go in. I don't need to do this today. I've got, Michelle there. I've got Carol there. I've got Veronica there. I've got Devaney painting. For me, it's just knowing that I need to let go a lot, of a lot of that, because there is a big control aspect where you feel like I mean, it is. It's my other baby. But there's that aspect where in my family, control is a big thing. I mean, it's just something where we're just constantly trying to maintain that. And I think that because I learned that so early on in these golden years, I'm learning how to let go of that control, which is difficult. I mean, it really is. And there's parts of it where I say, what's crucial, what's critical, okay, let me get that done. There's a deadline. Okay, you have to get that done. But everything else, there will always be something the next day and the next day. So mind you, again, with ADHD, if I do not make a list, it is gone. I've forgotten about it until it's like 3 a.m. and then I go, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. I forgot to leave this note. I forgot to, put this on this piece. I forgot to put the top coat on this. It happens.
Right.
It happens. I will say CBD for nighttime is, thank you. It is wonderful. It has saved me. I will tell you. Yes, it has saved me. But I think the thing that people have to understand, they have to experience that on their own, and they have to go with their comfort level, and they have to say for them, what's their ability to, what works for them? Are they able to kind of let that go a little bit? Are they okay to say, okay, that's not hurting anybody. That's not, I'm not causing any issues. Okay.
Exactly. But it brings us back to tip number 1, right? You can't do it alone.
Correct.
You can't, in my opinion, like those people that are, I had a boss like this. She wouldn't share information. She wouldn't train us. She was so afraid and threatened by the knowledge and the drive and the wisdom. We were really, really young. As a team, we had a great team. The cog in the wheel was our boss.
Yeah.
Because we all shared resources. I've lived my life, my entire life, believing this concept of girls, women, humans, support each other, help each other.
Absolutely.
You can't do it by yourself.
Right.
I don't care who you are or how smart you think you are. You can't do it by yourself. And so when you have a team that you rely on and that you trust on, that you have built, you've put together, that allows everyone to thrive. In my
absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I do have another question for you, because you touched on it a little bit earlier, in the self-marketing. No, I mean, really, this is, you could always say, hey, I don't feel like answering that. That's okay.
Oh my gosh, I will never say that. Careful, because you may not want to know. Yeah, go ahead.
But do you believe that confidence, self-acceptance, self-empowerment, do you believe that all of that goes hand in hand? I mean, when you were younger, did you think to yourself, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D, and it's going to result in X, Y, Z?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you kind of feel like your path was more organic or more planned? Like how do those 3 concepts, self-acceptance to me with self-empowerment and that confidence to me, it's like this whole tapestry.
Right.
And I was just curious how you felt about that.
Well, I will tell you this. I did not become confident in myself until I started doing this business. Up to that point, up to that point, everything always felt like I was never doing it good enough. I was not doing what I needed to do. I was behind. I was this, I was that. It goes back to, like I said, grew up in a very athletic family. Both my parents were coaches. We ended up moving up here to Northern California because my dad got a basketball coaching job. And so we were all athletes. My sister was a phenomenal athlete, my older sister. So I always felt like I was in her shadow and had to find other ways to thrive, to get attention, to succeed. And so it always did feel that way. So until I found my thing that I was really good at, that's when I finally started to build that confidence inside.
Oh, that's wonderful. I got chills when you were saying that, because I think that happens a lot. I think we're sometimes, many times we are told that we are supposed to do X, Y, Z. We're told as kids and children, we're not asked many times. Many times.
No, it is very true, especially in our generation. In our generation, and in my family, in my family in particular, there was no, oh, maybe I'll do this, no, it was, you are finishing high school, you are going to college, you will do this, you will do this, you will do this. And that's how it was.
And there's benefits to that.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely 100%. There's benefits.
I agree. But if I could have gone to school, what I wanted to go to school for, I would be very, very different in this period, because I wanted to go for art. So I started off as an art major, and then I got talked out of it because what are you going to do? So, here I am.
But here you are. You found your way to your path.
Right.
So I think when you're open, and sometimes because of situational, how shall I put it, little pushes.
Yes.
Right. You do end up on that path.
Yeah.
And the critical thing is to embrace it when you're aware of it, and you got it, and you got that chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And there are days where you're going to question what you're doing. You're going to question, am I doing it right? Did I overdo it? Is this person happy? Is this person happy? And you'll drive yourself nuts doing that. I mean, that's just the way it is. So I usually do drive myself nuts. So that's the way it is. But honestly, moment by moment, things can change.
Yeah.
And honestly, just taking a deep breath and saying, this is just a moment in time. The next moment, let's see what it looks like. Okay, let's see what it looks like. And I think it goes into having that positivity, and again, being lighthearted, using humor. It just gets you through those moments. So that's my coping mechanism.
Right. That's your go-to.
Wholeheartedly.
I love it. I love it.
And we feel like family. We feel like family, and that's important too. It's our happy place.
Right. That's wonderful. And I love how you already answered one of my questions.
Geez.
If you could do, no, it's great, because it's just a natural progression, right? The question is if you could do it over, and you answered that.
Yeah.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
We talked about the support
truth
team,
or dare.
right? No, we haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Okay. Honey, pour me a glass of wine.
Right? There you go. It's getting hotter in here.
Woo, I know.
No, we talked about the importance of having a team and the support group and what we believe. We're in alignment. Clearly,
right.
I want to have guests that are in alignment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Otherwise, it'll be a whole different show.
Yes, it will be.
But if you had to pick one person that you could say was your biggest champion at any phase in your life, do you have more than one? Do you have like that, and it's, I could say, not family, because it makes it so much easier, but no, I just think whatever, whoever you.
I think that the thing, obviously I was very fortunate in that even with hiccups where I did things not according to what my family wanted, my family would, they've always been supportive, and that's what's really wonderful.
Yes.
In my home, my husband is very supportive. In the beginning, he was not on board. He had to get there, and he's gotten there, and he's very, very supportive. It's wonderful to have that, because we're a team at home. And so that helps to have that support. Right. My son, obviously, wonderful. But for me, I would say it's probably my best friend, who actually is a therapist. So I'm very fortunate. I get free therapy. So it's super wonderful. But my dear friend that, we met at college, and she is my ride or die. She is just that person who validates everything I'm going through. She helps me get to that point where I am comfortable with the decisions that I make, and I feel good about the decisions I make. And some of them have been tough decisions over life, over the span that we've known each other. But having that person who knows your ugliness and your beautifulness, where they just know that, and they embrace that, and they help you and support you and build you up, and it's not even somebody who does what we do. So to me, that, obviously that is very supportive. But everybody that I say, a good majority of people that come into the store,
yeah,
I get such good feelings from them and that validation from them when they make statements, because I could be sitting there just toiling over a piece going, oh man, I don't like it. I'm not feeling it. I'm not this, I'm not that. And they'll come in and talk about, yeah, how gorgeous it is. And I'm like, all I can see are all the flaws. I can see the boo-boos. I can see where I messed up. I can see a brush stroke. I can see that, all those things.
and they're probably minute details.
Absolutely. Because that is the only area where I'm super hyper focused and I'm really, really looking at stuff. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry, hang on.
Okay. Tell them hi.
Yeah, right? Where'd it go, babe? No, it's not back on. Oh, I don't see it here on the screen. Sorry. I don't see anybody.
It's alive. It happens. Okay.
There we go. Anyways, yeah, because my husband is a deputy chief. This is like constant at our house. So okay. he is fixing it for me. There we go.
Sorry.
No, I just have to stare at Carmen. I'm sorry. Anywho, that for me, I think it's little. My big majority is probably my best friend, and then little bits from everybody else who, I pass along the way.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That I know you also said in what you wrote to me, and I was wanting to ask you is, let me preface this by saying, I do believe that there's an artist in every single human being.
Yeah.
I believe that from the depths of my soul. Whether or not they're able to express it or utilize it, that's a different thing.
Right.
But when you say anyone can paint, it seems to me that you also believe that from the depths of your
absolutely
soul. Or am I making an assumption?
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing that is tough for people to understand, because I hear people say this constantly when I go, you can do this, and they go, oh no, I can't paint anything. And I go, you can do this. And I just say it's not, you can pick up a brush, dip it in the paint, push it across, whether it's furniture, whether it's a mirror frame, whatever it is you're going to paint, canvas. You just have to have the ability to say to yourself, just let it go. Let it go, create whatever's going to come out, and be okay with that. And I think that's what gets tough sometimes, is because we're bombarded by all these visuals of what's expected, what it's supposed to look like. We get those, things all the time. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Facebook, whatever, the nailed it, all of those things where you're looking at things and they're going epic fails, all this stuff. But that isn't what, art. Yeah, it isn't. And it's just create and be okay. And, we always say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Art is like that. It's in the eye of the beholder. If you're okay with it, chances are somebody else out there is going to be okay with it.
Right. And even if they aren't, who cares?
Who cares? Exactly. It's what you get from what you're doing. And there's that pride and that accomplishment. And it's just that feeling of, I can do this, and in being a coach, for me, I coached athletics. For me, there's a lot of that when you're trying to build up individuals, when you're trying to build up littles, and the minute you make them feel good about something, about themselves, about a play, whatever it is, they light up and there's somebody totally different. The confidence comes out and they just go. And by the end of it, you're just like, oh my gosh, was that? Did he just do that? Did she just do that? It just blows your mind. So I do believe anybody can paint. I really do.
I love it.
Yeah. And for me, that's what I want. I want people to come into the shop. I want them to feel good. I want them to, whether they, buy paint for me or someone else, whether they, whatever it is, if they get a piece of project furniture from someone else, whatever it is, enjoy it.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about, this is also about business, right? And you're an entrepreneur and you mentioned the shop. What is Vintique Market. Now, I know I've been there many times, and it's like walking into, it's like walking into my home. And I don't know.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I don't, no, but it's true. I've told Veronica
this sometimes.
I don't know how else to describe it, but it's okay. All the colors and the art and all the furniture and all, it's this, I feel like it's this place of coming home for artists and creative people and, little ladies. Of course, we got to.
Yeah. Oh, got to give them a little pump.
It feels like, to me, you have created much more than just a regular shop. To me, it's like this community gathering place where it's safe to be who you are, to dress the way that you want to dress, to, shop the way you want to shop, because there's so much there.
Right.
So that's my interpretation of what you created. But I'm really curious to know, what was your vision when you started Vintique Marketplace in Fairfield?
It's interesting because how, I came into a place that was already established. The more time I spent there, the more I felt it wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. And the I would say the energy there, it was a vibe, the energy, it didn't feel good. It felt really heavy, didn't feel light. So I think we started creating, and I say we because, again, it's a team. Right. And Michelle and Carol have been there from the beginning with me. They as we say, I got them with the place. Right. And they're fabulous. I love them. And we would literally just kind of talk to each other, brainstorm, and say, what do you think? What do you think about this idea? Where's it going? What do you see for this? And they're great because they'll say, well, what do you see, CJ? And I go, well, maybe this, what do you think? And they'll go, well, I see this. And I go, oh my God, that's a great idea. I love your idea. Let's go with your idea. Let's do that.
Collaboration.
Yeah. Collaboration.
What a concept.
Yeah. Right. We do the same thing when we're working on pieces. We'll be working on a piece and it's like, okay, I have to step away. Can you guys please look at this and tell me if I'm going the right direction? Did I hit a wall? Where are we going?
Right.
And that's what I love about that environment. Again, I don't like to say me for Vintique. It's we. It's what we're creating. And that's the same with whoever comes in as a vendor. Our vendors that we have in there right now are fabulous. They're wonderful women. Whenever somebody doesn't feel comfortable, don't stay. I want, and there's no, you don't give notice. You don't do, my thing is, hey, go. If you're not, I don't want that. This is our happy place. Right. And I want you to feel happy. And I want you to be able to come to me and say, hey, I'd like to do this instead of this. Can I do this? And you go, yeah, let's give it a try. Why not? Right. So I think that's a big part of what has kind of happened there. It feels like sometimes a big dorm room. There's times where it feels like it's a, an artist community where we're in this loft, we're all in this loft together and we bring different aspects.
Yes, that's what I found. And I can't imagine that customers, when they come in, they don't feel this energy, this positive flow of creativity. Like, the minute you walk in, this is somewhere special. And as Monica says, it's the destination place in Fairfield, California.
Thank goodness for Veronica.
Right? I mean, this is what I love, this joyful collaboration and supporting. And this, we're living it. We're recording it live right now, everybody. Yeah. This is what we're talking about. This is what life could be when you open yourself up and you don't take these hard edge stances that I see some people take.
Right.
I'm not saying that that's not appropriate in business sometimes.
Correct.
But we also have the ability as entrepreneurs to create the environment and the vibe, the culture
Right.
our business.
Right.
So,
well, and I think we've been fortunate because, you know, over time, we've seen big businesses change. We've seen them change the way they operate. We've seen the way they, you know, offer things to their employees. You know, their employees are happier. You know, you will never expect your employee to give what you give, to, you know, to die for the business, to do all these things. That's what you do. But you do want them to feel good about coming there. You do want them to be productive. You do want them to feel like they are, you know, contributing, they're collaborating, all those things that are very important, because that is instilling something in them as well. And, you know, I just say, you know, when we look at places, you know, Google, Apple, all these places that are kind of transforming the way office looks, that helps us in the artist community, because it kind of then takes it someplace else. Right. You know, of course, we're not there yet where Apple and, you know, Google and all the rest of them are, but
but it's your own version of.
Correct. Yeah.
And I also see a reminder. Boy, she's good. She says, "Wait for the paint classes; they are going to be amazing."
Yes.
So talk about that.
Wow, who's teaching those? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, they are on me every day about the paint classes. I got to get those back up and running. I am kind of nervous right now because of what's going on. Okay. I want my customers to feel safe. I want people to come in there and be able to create and just not worry about any of that stuff. And I have a lot of people who don't, but I have a lot of people that do. Right. And so to me, that's very important. Same way, you know, when I'm going in a customer's house and I'm painting their cabinets, you know, any of those things, I'm very cognizant about, okay, are you feeling okay about this? Are you right? Here's where we're going with this. But yeah, the paint classes, we're super excited about that. This coming up weekend, we've got the Tomato and Vine Festival. That's going to be fabulous. Looking forward to getting back to some events. Right. They're in downtown Fairfield. So
we all are.
Yes, right. Absolutely.
I cannot believe that it's almost been an hour since
we
started. So before we wrap this up, I want to make sure that you share with everyone, how do they get a hold of you? What's your address? All of that promo stuff, because we're going to do, you know, the one thing that I loved about the last interview that I did with Frank McKinney was his re-emphasizing this ability that, like, promote yourselves. We're entrepreneurs. We need to do that. So I want to make sure that I never miss that opportunity with my guests. I want them to promote themselves on the live and on the Facebook pages. You are free now you will be an alumni guest. You can post whatever it is. It's open forum for you to post whatever it is that you've got coming up. And you may get one person, you may get 10, but you're promoting what you're doing. And that is my way of supporting as much as I can. Thank you. We appreciate that. Definitely. Yes, wholeheartedly. But so we are located, 2 locations. At 735 Texas Street is Vintique Marketplace. So that's our big store, 4,000 square feet. Wonderful, wonderful place. Yeah. In Fairfield, California, not Connecticut. And then also I've been very, very fortunate to be a part of the Winters Collective, which is at 41 Main Street in Winters, California. You know, Mika has built a wonderful, collective there with some great individuals, very supportive women. And, you know, that's another wonderful place. But the big part of who we are is right there in downtown Fairfield. That's our happy place there. Get my fix this week. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And Thursday night's farmers market right now. So from 3 to 8 farmers market. We have, we actually Thursdays we're open later, 12 to 8 to accommodate anybody who's coming down for that. Smart.
Yep, absolutely. And then, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I believe. My husband does our social media. So
thank you.
Again, it's all part of the business, family business. But yes, so that's where you can find us.
Okay, great. Thank you. Before I let you go, and I know your family is probably just like, okay, you two wrap it up.
No. My son is streaming. He does not care where I am right
now. Okay. But if you were able to give 17-year-old CJ some advice, what advice? And it doesn't have to be about business, but it can be. Just what's the thing that you would want 17-year-old CJ, what would you impart to her?
I love that. I would tell her to follow her heart and listen to herself. That's what I would tell her, and not be influenced by anything else. Trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your instincts, because again, that's what's going to drive you,
That's great advice.
That's what I would tell her.
Great advice. And it doesn't matter when you learn this.
Correct.
Grab onto it when it clicks, when that light bulb moment goes on in your head.
Yeah.
Just grab it, because it doesn't matter if you're 17 or 87.
Yeah. Right? Or 50 when I did it. So.
Right. It doesn't matter. Just grab it when it's there, because that is the new way to be for yourself, whatever that is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
CJ, you are so amazing. We've had great conversations at the shop. I'm so glad we got to record this one.
Me too.
Thank you so much for giving us this time, and your insights are amazing. So thank you.
You're very, very sweet. You're very sweet. And thank you so much. I've enjoyed this wholeheartedly. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll see you probably tomorrow.
Perfect. I'll see you there. I'll see all of you there. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, CJ. And thank you to all of you who stayed with us for the entire show, all of you who come back week after week or month after month. You're always welcome to share and like and make the comments that you want to make. Hopefully they're positive, but if it's something that you think that we can improve on based within the realm of possibility for where we are right now, I will definitely take that into consideration. But I appreciate you all so much. Thank you again to CJ for being our guest this evening. That was really fun. That was I love doing these. I can't tell you how much I learn something new every time I have a guest. The next webisode is going to be on September 21st at 7 p.m. And that's about it for now. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Carmen Milagro, and this was Confidence Strategies with yours truly. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye.